I played 200 Days of Coral Island, continuing from our last 100-day journey in this cozy farming game. I'll go ahead and link to my last playthrough if you are interested in watching the beginning of my 100-day journey on Keanu Reefs, my glorious farm name. Just like the previous 100 days, I set a few goals for myself to accomplish while continuing our journey. I want to finish all temple offerings, have 2 babies with my significant other, complete the museum, reach maximum hearts with all human NPCs, and finally, I want to buy the glorious golden chicken suit. But before we start these next 100 days, yes, I'm sorry, this isn't picking up right where I left off. Why? Because I played past that point on my own time. Why would you do that, you may ask? Well, that was my first video I ever posted on YouTube, and I didn't think anyone would care, but it seems people actually did care and enjoyed watching me play, which was a complete surprise. So when I realized that, I stopped playing. But don't worry, I'll make sure to catch you all up on anything important that may have happened in between those 100 days. So let's go ahead and start 200 days of Coral Island. Okay, well, before I even get the chance to breathe, I guess I got another achievement. Must have been another update, but not the one I was hoping for. I'll take it though. Before we leave the house, yes, I married Mark. Pablo is a thing of the past, and at the end of the day, I had to choose Mark. You're insane if you think there was any other choice, to be honest. And I'm sorry guys, I know you didn't get to see the ceremony. It was a beautiful day, and Mark said some lovey-dovey things that weren't in character. But all that matters is I secured the ring on my finger. And now I need to stuff his face full of mushrooms so he can become obsessed with me and we can have some babies. I'm almost there though, so hopefully we won't have to wait too long to get the baby train rolling. I have a lot to go over, I know, but first off, please don't look at my garden. It's an absolute mess. I know. We will fix this up, I swear. We may have to wait longer than we wanted for the ocean update, but there is plenty we can do in the meantime. So here's a small tour. Oh, and let me introduce you to all of my wonderful animals before we go any further. That's super important, and I can't skip over that. First up, I have a few llamas and luwaks. I need 2 more of each, but aren't they cute? We have Tina, Napoleon, Espresso, and Latte. Next, we have all of my sheep and cows. Introducing Cheddar, Mozzarella, Asiago, and Swiss for my cute little cows. And we have Bob Marley, Wool Smith, Hillary Fluff, and Wooly Nelson for my little fluff balls. Up next, goats and pigs. All right, everyone, please meet Goatsart, Van Goat, Goatzilla, and Billy Idol. And for the pigs, we have Peter Porker, Ham Solo, Harry Porker, and Kevin Bacon. What, you think I'm not going to name my animals puns if given the chance? Well, you're mistaken. You guys have already met all my ducks and chickens in the last video, so we'll respectfully skip over them and head on over to the quails and peacocks. Last bunch of feathered friends, we have Shorty, Smalls, Itsy Bitsy, and Crumbs for our cute quail residents. And for our regal peacocks, I went with Diana, Elizabeth, Charlotte, and Victoria, all names of princesses and queens in England because majestic peacocks need majestic names to match. My personal favorite is Diana, but don't tell the others I said that. All right, well, now that we got introductions out of the way, I must tell you my plan for becoming rich, and that is to make tons and tons of money by selling wine. I've invested heavily in wine barrels and plan to continue doing so because I need a lot of cash to decorate my island and of course to buy my golden chicken suit. So that's my strategy this time around. That and of course selling all the artisan goods that come from my farm animals. After getting rid of all the dead plants in my garden, I went ahead and purchased a ton of fruits and flowers to plant. Fruits for winemaking and flowers to use as gifts for all the townsfolk. And it kind of took all day to fix up my farm and plant all of my new seeds. And I even had to plant a few in my greenhouse, which I don't believe I unlocked in my previous 100-day video. So yes, I have a greenhouse now and it's amazing. And I was elated to see I already had some flowers that have bloomed in the greenhouse to use for gift giving. I'm determined to make every islander like me fully and completely. They cannot escape their fates. I also got a short cutscene with a flute appearing near a temple entrance. I'm assuming this is related to Kenny since his previous cutscenes were him following directions from an old scroll with a sparkly flute on it, trying to solve a puzzle by connecting with nature. So I'm sure we'll see the end of that event play out. I then made my way back home, and before going to sleep next to my hubby, I changed my outfit because I totally forgot I unlocked the shark suit for completing all of the shark donations at the museum. And there is no better way to test if your partner truly loves you than by wearing an obnoxious shark suit 24/7 within his vicinity. I knew that shark suit was good luck. Let's start the day by giving Marg a mushroom and petting Pongo. It's how I start every day, and it's the only correct way to begin. Well, considering I have a full inventory of flowers, I think I'm going to spend a good chunk of the day giving them away. As you can clearly see, I still have quite a few islanders without full hearts, 29 to be exact, so I have a lot of gifts I need to give away. While handing out flowers, I ran into a short cutscene with Archie and his parents at the school, talking about how he's a good kid and his love for rocks. Nothing too exciting. I then continued gifting flowers and ran into my husband volunteering at the animal shelter. Isn't he such a sweetheart? After spending a decent amount of time kissing up to the town, I went back to my farm and gathered all of my animal products to start processing for more money, and I even had a few bottles of mead and wine that were done aging in the barrels. So I went ahead and placed them in the shipping bin along with a few other items and headed to sleep. I also increased my relationship with Raj and made about 33,000 coral coins, so not too bad. After saying hello to my family, I went outside to start the day by letting my animals outside and watering my garden. From there, I decided to make today a mining day because I still have a few gems and fossils I need to find to complete my collection at the museum and my offerings at the shrine. Will I find what I need? I doubt it, but I'm going to try anyways. I just need to constantly remind myself to keep track of the time. Passing out in a mine is so embarrassing, and I refuse to let that happen again. After fighting my way through 5 levels of the earth mine, destroying every rock and monster in sight, I made my way back home. I gathered a decent amount of fossil nodes and geodes with me, so hopefully some of them will contain at least a few items that I need. Again, I highly doubt it, but I can hope and dream. All right, while we wait for the lab to open, I'm going to go run after my husband and give him a mushroom. Not even a kiss goodbye. You're lucky I'm a kind and understanding person, Mark. I also checked up on my garden, let my animals roam around, collected all of my artisan goods, and grabbed some flowers to hand out to my neighbors once again. On my way into town, I ran into another cutscene with Raj. To quickly explain all of Raj's previous cutscenes, they've been trying new business strategies to attract more customers, all which have previously failed. And now we are looking at their newest strategy. Raj has resorted to giving out free Wi-Fi to try and keep customers, but they quickly realize that this tactic is making other customers leave due to overcrowding. They're not too happy that their business is becoming a Starbucks, and I don't blame them. I then made my way to the lab and processed all the items I got the previous day. I am absolutely flabbergasted. There is no way I found the last item that I needed. I played a whole year in between this one and had no luck. None at all. And all of a sudden, I got what I needed. What the heck? I was feeling pretty lucky and made my way to the blacksmith's to see if Lady Luck was still on my side. I needed 2 black opals from the Earth Geodes for donations, something which I could also not find in year 2 no matter how many times I went mining. Dude, what the heck is going on? I'm so happy. So I made my way to the museum, donated those 2 items, and completed 2 more collections, the fossil collection and the earth gem collection, unlocking an adorable dino outfit and a cool hat. I don't know, this seems like a bit too much. We'll stick with Left Shark for the time being. After giving away quite a few flowers, I made my way back home to check up on my farm and started processing more artisan goods and placed my coffee in the barrels to age as it's more valuable that way. I then went to bed and was shocked to see my town rank went up to rank A. Honestly, I didn't even check what ranking I was at to even know that I was that close to an A rank. So that's a fun surprise. I also gained hearts with a few of the islanders. And another surprise, we have some rumblings from pufferfish. I keep forgetting that they exist if I'm being quite honest. So to quickly fill you guys in about pufferfish, I experienced a handful of cutscenes in year 2 of Karen trying to run for mayor to wiggle her way into further controlling the island. And she went around making her case to many of the islanders, but it obviously didn't go anywhere. Now we see that the island is taking over the facilities because even Mother Nature can't stand a Karen. And it seems like Scarlet Town may finally be rid of pufferfish. The next day, I woke up to Millie at my front door talking about an article she wrote about an extremely rare flower on the island. All of her previous cutscenes were about her wanting to pick up writing and how this mysterious flower was only written about once a long time ago and no one has ever found it. But would you believe me if I said that we found it? And it wasn't because of main character energy at all. Of course not. Millie thanked me for believing in her and gave me a framed photo of the flower, which was super sweet. After Millie left, I did some housekeeping on my farm and wanted to once again try my luck mining. I need 2 more gems and I'd like to get them sooner rather than later. Also guys, isn't it adorable that Pongo is outside gardening with me? I'm so happy they added that feature. He deserves to roam around and be the happy little digital dog I know him to be. I spent the whole day mining and gathered as many geodes as I could find, so hopefully one of them contains another black opal so I can offer it to the shrine. Next day, I got yet another visitor, this time from Wataru. Waku, his son, told Wataru that his lifestyle is too antisocial and unhealthy, and he wanted him to try and seek out connection as he's worried about him being alone. So the 3 of us went out and tried yoga, and he didn't exactly like it and had a very strong reaction towards it. Fast forward to the present, Wataru came to admire my farm, and I let him do so for as long as he wanted, because I'll take compliments all day long. He talked about what happened in the yoga class we attended last time with Waku, and expressed how he doesn't enjoy yoga or making new friends, saying he is content with being lonely. I'm sure we'll resolve this pity party conversation at a later date, but in the meantime, let's quickly take care of the farm and make our way to the blacksmith's to test our luck once again. And it seems my luck has run out. I need a new trash can to hyperfixate on. Paul and Anne, you're my next victims. My dear brother and sister-in-law. If my husband has anything to hide, he'd do it here. I've got my eyes on you. I'm always watching. We ran into a cutscene of Kenny finding the flute, saying it looked no different, but I'm confused. Didn't it appear out of nowhere and sparkle? At least the monkeys seem to like it. Also, I realized that I had enough money for the golden chicken suit. I could have sworn it was $10 million, but it's only 1. Still expensive, but you better believe I bought it right away and put it on. This one looks a bit creepy too. Why? I don't know. You better believe I'm still gonna wear it. I collected a few fish and bugs from my farm to sell and headed off to bed. I also believe I collected the last heart I needed with Mark, so we'll see what happens. It was raining the next morning, and I knew there is a bug that I still needed to catch that comes out of hiding when it rains, and so I checked the computer and saw it was available to catch during this season. So I made my way near the lake in hopes that I would find it, and it wasn't around. So I went back home and checked my computer again and found the bug was also near the Giants Village, and I managed to catch it. I then made my way towards the museum to go donate the spider because I believe that's the last bug I needed, and I ran into a cutscene with Mayor Connor on my way there. I was confused about what was going on, but quickly realized this was about the town rank going from an F to an A, all thanks to yours truly. Judge Ross stood up on her little podium and basically just congratulated everyone, me, for raising the town rank back up to an A. She then pulled out a comedically huge trophy from her pocket, and we all went outside to celebrate cleaning up the island by polluting the air with fireworks. I then donated the spider I caught, completing the insect collection and earning another suit. This one's kind of terrifying as well, but also kind of cute. Sorry, golden chicken suit. I'm wearing the moth outfit from now on. That golden chicken suit was really short-lived. Now I'm going to quickly collect and create some more artisan products, and I finally started making more wine and decided to ferment a few cheese wheels as well. I then spent a bit of time organizing some of my chests, and yes, I realize I'm hoarding way too many things, but I still have some achievements left to do, and I just feel better knowing that I have all these items in case I need them, okay? I don't have a problem. I then ended the day earning a good chunk of money, and a prompt just randomly popped up and threw me for a loop. Mark's making moves because of my new moth suit, isn't he? Odd thing to say after we just had a baby. Okay, so I guess we have a baby now, or maybe we don't? I'm confused. Is there no prompt? Do I just have to wait and see if I'm pregnant? Well, whatever. I'm not in a rush. Okay, since it's the beginning of the week, I'm going to focus on handing out flowers today to work on my friendship goal. But first, as always, I'm going to do some stuff on the farm and then go around invading people's privacy and handing them gifts in hopes that they will like me. While going about my day, I ran into another cutscene with pufferfish, and Karen stated that they were finally moving away from the island. Honestly, they weren't much of a burden since they kept to themselves, so I'm curious as to what will take this building's place, if anything does, now that this storyline has supposedly wrapped up. And to no one's surprise, this taco truck is still useless 3 years later. It will be a miracle if this woman sells me a taco before I complete this game. We also got another cutscene with Raj finally realizing that it's okay for their coffee shop to be a small, friendly corner coffee shop. And they looked really happy to stop trying to be something that they're not, wrapping up that storyline. And I basically spent all day gifting people flowers, and on my way to give one to Sunny, I ran into another cutscene. Also love how I just waltz into people's homes. It's such a dominant trait. He was watching a fishing competition on TV and invited me in to show me some of the fish he caught when he was younger. It was a nice little conversation, and I like Sunny. He's always yelling, but I respect it. I then ended the night seeing the fruits of my labor as 5 of my relationships increased. The next morning, I decided to test my luck again and went mining all day in the earth caves. I know, not very thrilling or exciting, but I need another black opal for an offering. Also helps to go mining and level up my combat skills. It's the weakest skill I currently have, and leveling it up to 10 gets you a duplicator item, which I hear is really worth it. I spent the entire day collecting geodes, and I was hoping to have picked up more than I received, especially since my pickaxe has all of the drop buffs on it. But who knows, maybe my lucky opal will be inside one of these geodes. It better be. I don't want to do this for too much longer. The next morning, I immediately made my way back to the mines and decided to mine geodes from the fire cavern instead, as I still need to find a ruby. Probably two, not quite sure yet. But that's what I ended up doing the entire day, and I ended the day with 11 fire geodes, so I'm hoping that will be enough to find what I need. Pablo better not let me down again. I woke up to mail letting me know that the glorious animal festival is tomorrow, and you guys, I finally have animals. Every single type of animal to participate in the festivities. And I'm going to win every single game. Before heading into town, I let my animals roam free, and I forgot to point this out earlier, but see my chicken with the medal around his neck? That's what you call a winner. I participated in the events during year 2, and you better believe my chicken won first place. I want nothing more than for all my animals to have medals around their necks. But for now, let's head into town and see if I managed to get lucky with my geodes this time around. I found a ruby and a black opal, so the answer is yes, and I am so freaking happy about it. So let's go ahead and offer the black opal to the shrine first, because I believe I'm missing one more gem as an offering, and I think I have a diamond at home. I do not. Okay, well, I guess I'm not done mining. I am a tad disappointed, but we do have a ruby to donate to the museum, which will now complete all of the gem offerings. All that I have left are 2 artifacts to find and 1 fish to catch, which, if I remember correctly, I can catch in the fall, so we are getting close to completion. I also processed a good chunk of my fossil nodes while I was in town, selling what I don't need and keeping the more valuable pieces for future tool upgrades. From there, I harvested my blueberries, pineapples, and flowers, and decided to buy 100 more pineapples and 100 more melons to plant because I've read that they are the best fruits to turn into wine for the highest profits. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It'll take some time, but it will be worth it in the end. I then spent a good chunk of the day planting all of my new seeds, both in the garden and in the greenhouse. Once I was done, I went around gifting more flowers to the Coral Island residents, and as I made my way over to Dinda's, I ran into another cutscene. This sequence of events centers around Dinda and Archie, and it's more of a mother-son bonding type of sequence that played out. Archie found an injured bird and wanted to nurse him back to health with his mom's help, and they brought him inside to monitor him. For this cutscene, we see Archie sleeping next to the bird he's been taking care of, and Dinda and Joko were having a conversation about the bird not moving for the last few hours. Unfortunately, the little guy didn't make it, and Archie was pretty heartbroken. A very sad cutscene coming from someone who owns birds. Just tear my heart open right now, why don't you? I gifted a few more flowers and started processing more artisan goods before turning in for the evening. Today is the Animal Festival, so of course we will be attending. But before we make our way over there, I'm going to do a few errands on the farm and make sure that all of my machines are busy making me money. All right, time to show everyone what 2 years of hard work and a lot of money can do to improve your life. I remember being absolutely shamed at this event, but now it's time to Uno reverse that card and bring shame to everyone else. But first, I had some flowers to hand out. This is a great opportunity to increase my relationships since a lot of the residents are all gathered in one place. Sam, bestie, don't test me again. You're opening up old wounds, and I don't appreciate it. Once I was finished handing out gifts, I started participating in the events, beginning with the cow races. I almost won this race last year, but the controls were super sensitive, so hopefully that still isn't the case. I decided to enter Asiago in this race. And let's be real, it wasn't even a competition. Every other cow was pathetically slow compared to my gorgeous friend, and it was a cakewalk. And now, Asiago is a winner. Next, let's try the chicken competition. And while I still question the ethics of this game, I'm not gonna let anyone else take my medal. We're going to enter omelet into this competition since Frittata won last year, and it was super easy to win because my chickens are the best. Love to see it. Next game was the bull riding game, which, again, there is no competition. I'm the best. But one thing I do have to say is the screen shakes a lot during this game, and it was making me super dizzy, so developers, maybe fix that? It made me nauseous. Oh, my poor husband. Final game was the pet race. Pongo and I are going to destroy the competition because Pongo is the best. What the heck? Charles cheated! He left his animal behind! What kind of crooked judging is going on here? And I lost by 1 second. At least I won every other competition, and it was quite fun. Who knew being able to actually participate in the events would make this an actual fun experience? Not me. I left shortly after and quickly checked to see which artisan goods I could sell before ending the evening. I also increased my relationship with 4 islanders and earned a good amount of merit points as well. The next morning, I went around collecting my artisan goods from the previous day and found that a bunch of my mead and wine were done aging, which is going to do wonders for my wallet tomorrow. I then harvested some fruit from my trees and all of the melons from my garden, which has made me come to the realization that I need to start creating more kegs and barrels to process all this fruit. So that's what I did. I crafted 10 more kegs and 4 more barrels and placed them inside this empty shed I had on my farm. I stocked the kegs up to the brim with melons so that I can finally kick this money train into gear by bumping up my production. I went around and collected more items from my animals and received my first golden milk from Asiago. Look at him! What a cute little winner! And Omelet has one too. It's just too precious. After filling up all my barrels and artisan machines, I noticed that it was Emma's birthday, so I decided to go find her and give her a gift, even though she never reciprocates that affection via tacos from her truck. On my way there, I ran into a cutscene with Anne. Anne has been trying to help Barney for quite some time after she found he stole one of her bracelets to give to a girl raccoon. Pretty cute, right? Anne and Paul give off a mixture of the wild thornberries and the crocodile hunter family, and I'm here for it. I couldn't ask for better in-laws, honestly. She was trying to help Barney the raccoon find a mate, and she put him in a little tuxedo shirt. I mean, what more could anyone want from a game than a kind human helping a raccoon find true love? While Anne helped the female raccoon by removing a giant splinter, Barney caught her a fish and flowers to make her feel better. I know they aren't real, but I mean, animals are cute both in reality and in virtual settings. It's just a fact of life. Finally, I made my way over to Emma and gave her some flowers, and now we are besties. I made my way back home, and while I very much enjoy wearing this cute moth costume, I felt like changing it up a bit and wearing some normal clothes. Finding balance in life is always a good thing. I made one final round collecting my artisan goods and spent a little bit of time collecting fiber and hay before heading to bed. Today, I'm going to attempt to find the last gem, which is a diamond, to complete the shrine offerings. You can find diamonds in the water caverns if I remember correctly, so get ready for another day of smacking rocks. After checking up on my animals and grabbing a few finished items to sell, I headed into the water cavern and got to work. I kept smacking rock after rock, and yet nothing. Rarely did I find what I was looking for. I came to the sad conclusion that today was a complete waste of time. Look at this. A pathetically small amount of geodes. How can my luck be so bad to the point where I only unearthed 1 water geode and 4 mystery geodes? So, tomorrow will be another mining day. I hope my combat level will at least increase a little bit. That also seems to be taking forever. Upon awaking, my immediate plans were to make my way to the water mines and get to work, but Emma had other ideas. This woman invited me to dinner. Can you imagine my surprise when she expressed that she wanted to cook for me? And not only that, she was going to cook me tacos. Finally, I've waited so freaking long to eat an actual taco prepared by your hands, girl. But I knew there had to be a catch. She's making me bring the ingredients. And now I understand why she never sells tacos at her taco truck. Moving on, I made my way back to the water mines and spent the entire day there breaking open thousands of rocks. I am happy to see that today ended up being more fruitful than the last, although I would have preferred to have found more water geodes than mystery geodes, but who knows, maybe one contains the diamond I need. We'll find out tomorrow, and either I'll be extremely happy or extremely annoyed. I quickly made my rounds on my farm and sold a few items before heading into town to visit Pablo. It's so tempting. All right, so far, no luck with the water geodes. Pablo, please, please don't let me down. Unbelievable. This is my life now, I guess. I don't understand why the drop rate for the water geodes is so low compared to the other geodes. Why, game? Why must you make me suffer so? I might as well just keep the momentum going and continue mining. At this point, I just want to be done with it. Also, why are diamonds the rarest gem? They aren't even that pretty. Honestly, who wants a diamond when there are so many other stones available? Give me a sapphire. Give me an amethyst. Give me that cool green moss agate stone that's super popular right now. All of these stones are way prettier than a simple diamond. I went a whole day without finding a single water geode. This whole process is driving me insane. I wasted a whole week of my virtual in-game life looking for these water geodes, and I only ended up finding 14. I wanted 20, but 14 will have to do because I'm done. If I don't end up finding a diamond in this batch, I'm just gonna continue blaming it on Pablo. Before heading into town to open my geodes, which will entirely determine my mood for the rest of the day, I collected some wine and mead that finished aging and placed them in the shipping bin to sell. I then saw that it was Sunday and realized that the blacksmith was closed today, and so it seems my mood has soured before I even had the chance to visit the shop. Well, change of plans. I'm handing out flowers today. I need people to tell me they like me so I don't jump off the pier. While giving flowers to the islanders, I went inside the ranch to give one to Jack and ran into a cutscene with Surya, Dinda, and Joko. Previously, Surya expressed his desire to have his own place as he is getting older and can afford to do so, but Dinda and Joko didn't take it well and got upset when he told them that he was moving out. During this cutscene, Surya showed his aunt and uncle the new place he was thinking about renting, and he seemed thrilled about it, although Dinda and Joko didn't seem impressed. Rather, they looked sad considering the state the room was in. They then continued to guilt trip him, which honestly was kind of a rotten move. Once I was done gifting flowers, I decided to shop for some furniture because I really want to make my farm pretty and aesthetic this year. You know, what all the farm girlies want. I wasn't set on any specific style, but I've always been drawn towards that Mediterranean look, so I'm going to draw most of my inspiration from the neo-classical style furniture and mix in a few pieces from other styles as well. For the time being, I'm going to place all my decor in this chest because first, I need to do a bit of housekeeping on my farm. I have a lot of pineapples and blackberries ready to harvest, so I'm going to do that and then check up on my animals because I haven't seen them in over 5 days. And their food is out. Great. So instead, I spent the rest of the day gathering hay for my animals and then headed to sleep. I also made quite a lot of money from all the wine and mead I sold. I told you guys, alcohol production is the way to go, and that advice is coming from someone who does not drink. I forgot about us trying to have a baby. Okay, well, I guess we now have a baby. And it's a boy. I know exactly what to name our son. Do you have anything to say about our baby? Aw, that's actually sweet, coming from Mark. Well, I guess I have a kid now, guys. And I'm assuming Mark is going to stay home with Keanu because we both know who wears the pants in this household. It's me. After doing a few things on the farm, I made my way over to Pablo's to test the fates yet again. And after all that work, I still couldn't catch a break. Not one diamond. And now I'm extremely devastated because I know that I will yet again be seeing the inside of that water cavern for what feels like an eternity. But we won't be visiting the caves, not right now. I need a darn break from mining. Thanks for nothing, Pablo. I then spent the rest of the day giving out flowers because I needed to feel some sort of joy in my life. I mean, I know I just had a kid, but the pain of not getting a single diamond from the incredible amount of geodes I had on me has just destroyed any amount of happiness I had today. Not even Keanu could fill that void. Let's start off the day by checking up on the animals and adding more items into production. Once I was done on the farm, I decided to go diving since I have yet to do that, and I still need to find 2 artifacts for the museum, and we can only do that by finding coffers. Also, I'm a mermaid now. Once you get to a certain point in the game, you no longer need a diving suit when you explore the ocean, and you can choose how you want your underwater self to look. And I chose a yellow-tailed mermaid. Cute, right? The 2 artifacts I still have yet to find reside in the marble coffers and the shimmering coffers, so that's what I'm on the hunt for. Marble coffers can only be found between 40 and 50 meters, and shimmering coffers are found around 20. So I decided to farm the marble coffers today by heading inside this trash spawning cave, and it worked out really well. I ended up with 40 marble coffers. If only the same amount of luck would apply in the water caverns, I may still have a bit of my sanity left. While waiting for the blacksmiths to open, I went around collecting my wine and artisan goods to sell. I then made my way over to Pablo to have him open up my coffers, and once again, he let me down. Can he control what's in the coffers? No. Am I still going to blame him? Yes. Yes, I am. After selling the lower tier items and saving the higher tier for upgrades, I went back and opened up the rest of my coffers because I might as well at this point. I then decided to continue gifting flowers to the islanders. I'm getting pretty close to maxing out all of our friendships, and at this point, I need to feel like I've accomplished something because I feel like I've been getting nowhere lately. On my way to give Kira a flower, I ran into a cutscene in their home where Jack invited me to a dinner he prepared, but I guess it tasted and smelled extremely foul. Turns out he's not a great cook. I then spent the rest of my evening collecting hay because I'm sure my animals are almost out again. Quite the thrilling day, wouldn't you say? The next morning, I went out to the farm and harvested all of the available fruit. I'm planning on decorating at the start of the next season when all of my plants die. It'll be easier that way. I also made another chest to store a lot of random items inside. I'm so disorganized right now, it's pretty pathetic. I grabbed a few more artisan goods from my sheds and set a few more into production, and decided to make a few more mayo machines because with the amount of animal products I receive daily, I could use a few more machines to bump up my profits. I started firing some more bronze bars and scrap for crafting said machines, and realized after crafting another cheese press that I was out of wood. I'm basically out of everything at this point. So into the woods I go to collect more resources, and luckily it didn't take too long to gather a decent amount. I then made 3 mason jars, cheese presses, mayo machines, and 1 loom, placed them haphazardly in the spare shed, and started filling them up with all of my spare animal products. And before I knew it, it was 11 p.m. The day really got away from me, and it took forever to accomplish a few simple tasks. At least I made a decent amount of money at the end of the day. The next morning, I came to the realization that Mark has been leaving our baby at home all alone. He just waltzed right out as if I'm not busy working hard all day to put food on the table for our family. I'm definitely checking my sister-in-law's trash can today. You better not be hiding anything from me. After that unbelievable display of total abandonment from my husband, I let my animals out of their homes and started making my rounds, gifting flowers to the islanders who still need convincing that we should be best friends. Who am I truly on this island without everyone's complete and unequivocal approval? Once I was done handing out flowers, I decided to go diving again to farm more marble coffers, and I found around 31 coffers on this dive, which is pretty good. As I was leaving the ocean, I realized I forgot to do something extremely important today. Nothing too suspicious. For now, at least. I quickly gathered a few artisan products to sell before heading to sleep next to my husband, who refuses to stay home with our child. Today is the beach cleanup event, so that's how we'll be spending most of our day. And hopefully CPS won't be called because our child is left home alone yet again. It's not my fault. The game won't even let me hold Keanu. I made my rounds on the farm like usual before heading over to the beach to start the cleanup event. Before I was able to start the cleanup, I ran into a cutscene with Kayem. Kayem's cutscenes thus far have been centered around volleyball. She's a sports person and we've seen her training for the playoffs, only for her team to lose, which truly depressed her since volleyball is her life. But she expressed that she loves to play and would continue doing so. Her volleyball team and the opposing team were getting ready to play a community event she set up, and she was excited that a decent amount of people showed up to watch the tournament. I am slightly confused though. Shouldn't there be a volleyball net? Maybe she couldn't afford one? Okay, well, time to beat everyone at all of the minigames. Why are you not taking care of our child? First, the swimming competition, and this time I had actual opponents, but they were no match, obviously. Next, tug of war, and this is seriously just pathetic. I won in like 5 seconds. Weaklings. Well, I've done everything here. I then watched the main event montage and made my way back to the farm. I collected a few more artisan products to sell, harvested the last few melons from my greenhouse, and ended the night earning 240 merit points from the festival and $53,000 from the various goods I sold. For the last day of summer, I decided to spend it under the sea and continue grabbing as many marble coffers as I can. I think the items I'm looking for have a 1% chance of appearing in a coffer, so I'd like to grab as many as I can to better my odds. Well, I think 100 coffers should suffice. For the rest of the evening, I decided to search for some shimmering coffers at a more shallow depth because I need to break a few of them open as well to look for the other artifact I'm missing. I found 17 shimmering coffers in that short amount of time, which is pretty good. Tomorrow we shall see if I'll be irritated the entire day or if I'll be elated. Honestly, it's up to Pablo to determine that fate. Now that it's the start of a new season, I'm planning to decorate my farm and make it look a bit more fun and interesting instead of what it currently is, a jumbled up barren landscape. But before I do that, I have some coffers to open. I immediately made my way to the blacksmith and started the long, agonizing process of opening up 100 coffers, hoping one will contain the item I need. Freaking finally! Pablo, you beautiful man, you. For once, I was pretty lucky and got 2 of the ceramic vases, and to my surprise, I actually found the flying dragon teapot I needed from the shimmering coffer. I wasted absolutely no time donating those 2 items to the museum, completing the artifact collection, leaving 1 single fish left to complete the entire museum. Speaking of fish, I have 1 fish left to donate and 1 I simply need to catch for my journal, and I can do that pretty quickly on my farm. It took a little longer than I hoped, but I caught the tiger barb. I found one in a trash can, I think, and donated that to the museum in the past, but it never showed up as a fish I caught, so now it does. Last fish we need is the red king arowana, and you can find this fish later in the season during stormy weather in the mines, I believe. Very specific conditions, so unless I looked it up, I'd probably never find this guy. I spent the rest of the evening preparing more wine and disassembling my garden areas so I can prepare for tomorrow when we begin decorating and creating a more structured layout. I also earned a pretty good amount of money at the end of the day. Immediately the next day, I finished disassembling the gate around the barns and coops and fixed up the tilled dirt patches so that I have a clean foundation for moving items around. This will probably take a bit of trial and error, but I have a layout pictured in my mind. I want a little orchard area, a garden area, a relaxation area with my fountains, and obviously a place for my animals to roam. Overall, I just want to make it look pretty and cozy. It's so chaotic to look at right now, but I think I'm kind of getting a layout I like. I started adding some decor to get a better idea of how each section would look, and bought some grass tiles to spruce up the animals' living area. It took a long time to place down the tiles, so I'll have to continue working on this section tomorrow morning. Let's continue decorating the farm because I'm really enjoying the process. I started the day off by buying 500 more grass tiles and got to work adding more around the barns and the little walkway I've been trying to create. I also bought some more hedge fencing to create a safe border around the barn and finally completed this little section. I think it looks pretty cute, and I added some actual grass on top for the animals to munch on. Some of the pathways I'm still going to have to work out, and I became extremely indecisive about where I wanted to place everything else. But yeah, this is going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. I spent the evening laying out some grass tiles around the chicken coops because I want to make sure I complete the animal areas first. I didn't even fish today, but my fishing skill leveled up to 10. I only sold what was in my 3 ponds. Weird, but okay, not complaining. All right, day 3 of decorating. I'm going to start off by placing some grass tiles under the coops because I found the only way to fill in the blank spaces is by using the architect's desk. I then added a cute hedge around the coops, fixed the gate near the barns because I realized I installed it wrong, and then made my way to the carpenters. I removed 2 of the mills and 2 fish ponds because I honestly don't need them. It's too much clutter at this point. From there, I purchased more tiles, laid them on the ground, and placed them in the hard to reach spots around the farm. I also experimented with trying to create an interesting and neat patterned walkway. I don't know if I'll keep it like this, but it sort of helps me visualize and separate the various sections on my farm. I did the grass tile trick a second time around, and basically my whole day was consumed with placing tiles. I'll make sure to do something different tomorrow. I don't want to bore you guys too much with my tile talk. The next morning, I woke up to a letter from Mayor Connor reminding me about the Harvest Festival coming up this month. I completely forgot about this event. Oh, you better believe I'm going to win. I refuse to let that fool Bobby beat me. I did win during year 2, but only by a small margin. So I'll have to check all of my current stock and prepare ahead of time to make sure I'm ready for that friggin' festival. Anyways, we're going to take a little break from decorating and hand out some more flowers. I first stopped by Town Hall to spend my merit points because I keep forgetting to do that. And I finally had enough to buy another stamina fruit, leaving only 1 left to obtain, I think. I also grabbed a few more of the scarecrows with the rest of my points because why not? I made my way towards Jack to give him another flower and ran into a cutscene of him being bored out of his mind, all alone in his shop. He heard commotion from outside and found Kenny trying to get a cow back into its pen by pushing it. Jack then started talking to her like the dog whisperer, and Kenny thought it was a tad strange. And yeah, love, friendship, respect, all that stuff was said in the end. After gifting all the flowers I needed for the day, I finally went to check up on my animals, and yay, would you have guessed? They're out of food. Okay, well, you know what the rest of my day looks like now. That's right, swinging my scythe, collecting hay. I was able to completely fill up the silo and went straight to bed, increasing 5 of my relationships with the islanders. Immediately the next morning, I let all of my animals roam free in their new spruced up areas and collected all the barn and coop items. Don't they look so cute and happy roaming around on the grass? I started creating more artisan products and saved a few of the more valuable ones for the Harvest Festival. And I started decorating again. I'm sorry if it's boring, but I'm just truly into decorating right now. All that's on my mind is fixing up this wasteland of a farm. Did I spend the rest of the day placing down fake grass? You bet I did. And it was therapeutic and depressing, both at the same time. Once I start, I cannot stop. I did buy a few seeds towards the end of the night because I have yet to plant a single crop for this season. So I'll plant a few in the greenhouse tomorrow and try to focus on setting up a plot of land for the rest of the seasonal crops. I woke up to a letter from Nina and she asked me to meet her at the villa for a dinner party, which made me remember I never attended Emma's dinner party. I'll have to try and trigger that event next time I rummage in my sister-in-law's trash can, since Emma lives close by. I then planted some of my fall seeds in the greenhouse really quickly and added a few sprinklers. That way I don't have to worry about watering the plants and they'll grow carefree while I'm busy with other things on the farm. So after changing my mind for about 30 minutes, I think I finally got a layout down that I'm satisfied with. I want to have 2 areas available for crops, one in the upper right and one near my orchard where I'm planning to add a bunch of non-fruit bearing trees. And I'll make a little sitting area in front of my sheds, and if I have room, a little cozy area near the lake on the right. Sounds pretty good to me. All other aesthetic items I just threw in the corner for now because I need this area to start tilling the dirt and planting crops. I made a nice little pattern that would cover the sprinkler zone, but left a little dead space in between because of course I'm going to try and make it look pretty. Why wouldn't I? I crafted 2 more sprinklers, placed those down, and then proceeded to craft a bunch of flash 3s, which makes your plants grow faster because I would like to see some pretty plants on my farm before the season is over. The next morning, I immediately got to work placing down more tiles near my garden space and purchased a few more to continue filling out the area. I think that looks pretty cute, but I want to add a bit more appeal to the area, so I added a few more decorations and I think it's coming together quite nicely. I have a love-hate relationship with the flower grass. I wish the pattern was more sporadic in nature, but it's the only grass that matches the surrounding tiles, so for now, it'll do. I then bought more seeds to fill out my entire garden, and I'm truly happy with how it looks. It looks so much better than the setup I had before. I'm finally giving a bit of character to this vast space. I also planted 4 variations of the regular trees around my farm. I didn't really care where they were placed at the moment because I can move them around later. All right, we'll take a break from decorating tomorrow and do something new, but this has been pretty fun. Expensive, but fun. For today's events, I figured I'd go around gifting flowers to people, but also chat with them because we haven't done that in a while. Maybe they'll offer some new dialogue because I'm a mother. I admit I haven't really interacted with my son much, but Keanu's independent. He'll be fine. I talked with a lot of the islanders and not one asked me about being a new mom. No one brought up Keanu or asked me why I named him Keanu. Eleanor told me that she hated her kid when she first adopted him, but other than that, no talk about children. These people, I hand them out gifts all day long and they never take the time to ask me about my life. In fact, I got quite a bit of sass from the residents, and they wonder why I never like to talk to them. I ran into another cutscene with Surya, Dinda, and Joko, and Surya expressed his desire to live in an RV next to Ben, but his aunt and uncle showed silent disapproval, and Surya said he'd keep looking around. At least I can say that I finally became official besties with Sam today, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. After being harassed by the town, I came home, collected the truffles and geisha beans that have been sitting by my barn for a few days, and went around creating and collecting artisan products to sell before calling it a night. I started the day off by letting my cute animals roam around and refilled all of my artisan machines. I picked up a few of the tree seeds I placed the previous day that didn't take to the soil and planted them in various other spots, hoping they'll grow with a bit more room. And well, I started to get completely overwhelmed once again by the vast amount of chests I had on my farm and how my organization methods have pretty much gone out the window. So for the sake of my sanity, I spent a good amount of time organizing them. I began getting rid of a lot of ingredients and items that weren't osmium quality, and once my shipping bin was getting full, I decided to use some of the excess fruits for jams and juices. I spent the whole day going back and forth between chests, and I still have plenty of items to go through. For someone who is obsessed with the feeling of utter satisfaction in terms of organization, I have a ways to go, but I'm liking the process. Unfortunately, this is as close to my son as I'm able to get. At least let me pick him up, game. You're making me look like a bad mother. I did make a good amount of money towards the end of the night, so at least there's that. The next morning, I collected a few of the artisan goods I had in production the previous day and decided to go mining to try my luck at finding a darn diamond again. I need to step away from my farm for a little bit, and mining will serve as a healthy outlet to release some of my pent-up frustration. Or maybe it'll lead to more. Who knows? Well, as predicted, I was in the caves all day long and barely found any water geodes. I found 4. That's such a small amount. It's crazy how small the drop rate is for water geodes. And again, my pickaxe is upgraded, so I don't know what's going on. Also had a large impact on my farm as I went to sleep. If it destroyed something that's expensive or takes a long time to grow, I'm going to lose my mind. Thankfully, the asteroid landed in a grassy section near the barns, and it didn't destroy my grass tiles, just displace them. Why do asteroids hit this island so often? I don't know. Once I let my animals out of their homes, I made my way back to the mines to look for more water geodes. Against my will, this cavern has become my second home. And of course, after working so hard all day long, I only found 1 extra geode compared to yesterday, which is still bad, but better than some of the other runs I've done in the past. Look at my little garden space. It's so cute. It looks so much better with all the plants. I just love this area. It turned out so adorable. Okay, let's go into town today and hand out some flowers, snoop around my in-laws' house, and watch Taco do yoga since I've yet to visit him during this playthrough. It feels as if I've committed an atrocity. I have about 9 more islanders to max full hearts with, most with only 1 heart to go, so I'm getting close to the finish line for this goal. For the rest of the day, I continued organizing my chests and creating more juices and jams with all the excess fruit I've had stored on my farm. It's hard to part with it all, but sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and do what needs to be done, even if it hurts. I sold quite a lot of my excess items, making around 95,000 coral coins at the end of the day. I started off the day by saying hello to Pongo and Mark. At least Mark has had a good variety of new dialogue every time I talk with him, which I truly appreciate. I also got a message reminding me that the Harvest Festival was tomorrow, so I'm going to go through all of my items and pick the most valuable ones from every category and place them in my inventory to make sure I don't forget them tomorrow. I would have liked to have my cacti to have bloomed by now to get an osmium flower, but if I remember correctly, the cactus flower is the most valuable of all the flowers, so I'm still going to submit the one I have along with these other items, and I think we have a good shot at winning. For the remainder of the evening, I placed down more grass tiles, bought 1 more of each fruit tree to double my production each season, and planted even more non on fruit-bearing trees because I've decided I want lots of trees on my farm. It'll look a lot more lush that way. And I had to move some things around to even plant the fruit trees because I had no room to plant them. After placing just a few more tiles down, I went to bed ready and willing to wear down Bobby's ego tomorrow. The Harvest Festival starts later in the evening, so until then, I'm going to continue decorating the farm, and I was surprised to learn you can place tiles all the way up to the bridge, which I really like. But after I started placing a lot of the tiles in this area, I wasn't digging how it looked. Something about it looked off, so I removed them, essentially wasting a big chunk of my time. Once it got late enough, I grabbed some flowers for gift giving and made my way over to the park to start the event. The first event I played was pumpkin smashing. And I did awful. I kept running into the rotten pumpkins, losing points, and came in last place. So I tried 2 more times and lost once again. It's so embarrassing losing to children. Now, when it comes to apple bobbing, no one can beat me. Not even the children. At least I excel at one of the games. Last thing on the docket is, of course, the Harvest Face-Off. But before that, I went around giving flowers to those who still needed convincing that I'm the greatest. And I even talked with a few of the islanders while they were all gathered in one place. Is this meant to be a joke? Why is your face like that? You know I suck at that game, don't you? Erica was really sweet, and I found that Jim and I share a mutual understanding when it comes to socializing, digitally and in real life. All right, guys, time for the moment of truth. And I'm so happy to say that Mr. Jeff Smith did not let me down. Sometimes victory truly is sweet, and seeing an arrogant person freak out about their loss is even sweeter. As I was about to leave, I saw that Mark all of a sudden was holding Keanu. It's good to know that Keanu is not always left home alone. I wish I could hold my own baby. I also received a stamina fruit in the mail from Mayor Connor. I don't know if this is from winning the Harvest Festival or not, but I'm glad to have it. I then ended the day increasing 3 of my relationships and gaining some merit points from the festival. Early the next morning, I decided to dedicate the day solely to mining because I need to continue working on obtaining that diamond. This whole process is just so frustrating. Hopefully I'll have more luck today and the game will be kind to me. Well, after hitting rock after rock after rock after rock, I ended up with a grand total of 5 water geodes. I don't know why I expected the results to be any different than how they've been every other day I've gone mining. But you know what? We are rising bright and early tomorrow to do it all over again. Isn't that fun? Here I am once again, and I'm just gonna make this quick. I found 7 geodes, which is a lot better than what I predicted I'd get. I'm glad it was finally a number higher than 5, so we're going to take all the geodes I've collected and try our luck out tomorrow at the blacksmith's, once again, in hopes I find that freaking diamond. The next morning, I immediately made my way to the blacksmith's to crack open the geodes, and I'm getting complete and utter deja vu. It's almost as if I've played out this exact scenario 3 times already. My god. Freaking finally. You guys have no idea how happy I am right now. And I got another one. Why couldn't this have happened sooner? When I tell you that it's easier to find diamonds in Minecraft than it is in this game, I'm not lying. I was overcome with an immense amount of joy, and as I was making my way over to the shrine to offer a diamond, I found Paul hanging around his trash can, looking ever so suspicious. I'm gonna wait until he leaves. Now my brother-in-law is making me paranoid. I'll worry about that later. But for now, we have a shrine to complete. I offered up a single diamond, the last offering I needed to complete, and received the Slime of Replication, a machine I've been hoping to grab for quite some time. I also got a cutscene with the goddess, and again, her design is so beautiful. She presented me with a seed bag that contains a mythical creature. I did not know about this feature, but that's so cool. I am intrigued to say the least. So I have to grow a creature on my farm now. Okay, but tell me why the heritage ranking is not all the way completed. Maybe growing the creature will grant me the last few points. I then placed the slime of replication randomly on my farm and began duplicating my single diamond. I'm not playing that BS water geode game ever again. I then planted and watered my future little mythical creature. Such an odd thing to say. The rest of the day, I checked up on my animals, gathered their goods, and focused on collecting and preparing more artisan products, as I've neglected to do any of these things for the past few days, and the burden's been piling up. The next day, I made sure to immediately water my chia pet and continued running back and forth to my sheds as I collected and prepared more artisan goods. I decided to only start keeping a certain amount of osmium quality barn and coop items as well, and made room for them in a chest so I can keep track of what I have and what I still need. I moved a few things around on the farm once again so I could test some pathway patterns I had in mind. Not sure if I'll go with them, but I thought I'd try it out. I sort of like it in a weird way, and I have an idea to add a plant arch at the end of each path. I'll have to test it out once the trees are fully grown, because right now it's kind of impossible to do anything with all these baby trees lying around. I ended the night making a decent amount of cash, over 100,000, so overall not a bad day. I'm going to be sad once I have to gather all my flowers and crops because they look so pretty in this space. Okay, so today I think I'm going to go around town handing out flowers once more, as I have 8 people left to reach full hearts with. As I made my way to the inn to give Antonio a flower, I ran into a cutscene with Alice and Suki. In many of Alice's previous cutscenes, you see Suki talking over her, making decisions about the inn without first asking Alice, buying her a new uniform, telling her she needs to be more engaging, and so on. And Alice gets really upset when Suki makes a big business decision in front of her, promising something to Joko without her consent. Then she goes off on Suki, saying some rude things to her in the process. Alice apologized to Suki about freaking out on her at the community center. They hugged, and she expresses to Suki that she needs to learn to communicate better and not try to control everything, as they both run the inn. They made up and came to an understanding. It was a cute sisterly love type of cutscene, which is always adorable. There it is. The bane of my existence. Once I was done handing out flowers, I made my way back to the farm, sold some artisan goods, went through my chests a tad bit more, and ended the night. The next day, I figured I'd go foraging a bit, since I haven't really done that at all during this playthrough. And since I'm getting rid of a lot of items, it'd be nice to find some higher quality ingredients out in the wild to save for future uses. For instance, obtaining the cooking achievement. Speaking of cooking, I haven't received a single recipe this entire time, even though I've been handing out gifts like they're candy. You're supposed to randomly get recipes after giving islanders gifts, correct? Why is my luck so bad lately? I went around collecting various bugs for my traps, fruit, mushrooms, and other forageables for the rest of the day, including some coconuts I found hanging from various palm trees. Once I was back on the farm, I continued selling items I didn't need from my chests, fired up some silver bars, and headed to sleep. I woke up to a letter from Bobby, and he was talking about how much of a loser he is, but honestly, it wasn't important. Today marks the first day I'm able to catch the last fish I need, which is the Red King Arowana. I'm able to catch him until the end of the month, but only if it's rainy, windy, or stormy, and I can only catch him inside the caves. So I'll be on the lookout for any weather changes. I also need to stock up on hay before winter arrives, and I'd like to forage a bit more, so that's what I'm going to do. While I was roaming around, I stumbled upon another cutscene with Dinda and her son, and he was grieving the loss of the bird he tried to save. Dinda came to comfort him, and it was a cute little cutscene. When I got home, I fired up a few more silver bars and ended the day. I also got a prompt to have another baby, so baby number 2 is on the way, guys. Can't wait to not hold my second child as well. Bright and early the next day, I went and used the architect's desk to relocate some of the trees that seemed stunted in the spots they were currently placed. I moved a few on top of my pathways, hoping the extra room will help them grow faster. After that, I decided to go through the tedious undertaking of processing missing hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of fossil nodes I had on me from mining so freaking much. It took a long time. I think I processed over 400 fossil nodes. I also found around 130 coffers in various chests on my farm, and so I made a visit to Pablo's to open all of them up. This also took a long time, but I'm glad I processed everything and it's no longer cluttering my chests. And now that I have a surplus of gems, artifacts, and fossils, I'm going to see if I can upgrade some of my tools a bit more. Obviously, I could use more upgrades, although I'm currently unable to upgrade the rare drop any further because I haven't freed the other giant because that isn't implemented into the game quite yet. I maxed out the extra drop and hit drop on my pickaxe, the extra drop and hit drop on my scythe, and managed one upgrade for the extra drop on my axe. I am thankful I have a replicator because it'll allow me to replicate the dino skulls and other rare items that award you the points you need for final upgrades. Afterwards, I continued organizing my chest. It takes a long time to create a super organized system when you're a bit mental, okay? I'm all for a multitasking man, but that looks a bit dangerous for Keanu. Another sunny day. I'm getting nervous about catching that fish. We have 4 days left, so this game better not irk me again. I moved a few trees near the front of the farm so I could place some more grass tiles in this area. Sometimes this feature bugs me. It's tedious to have to use the architect desk to place tiles underneath objects because that's the only way to do it. And then you end up missing spaces because you can't really tell where you're placing them. It's a mess. And after some time, it began to frustrate me, so I decided to just wait until I can move more trees so I'll have more room to place more grass tiles. I didn't really know what to do today, so I just continued purging my chests and started processing a large batch of pineapple juice for winemaking. I then went to bed earning 77,000 coins. Not too shabby. Still no rain. Okay then. Well, it's going to be another boring day, I guess. I added a valuable dinosaur bone into the replicator for future upgrades and gathered all of my plants from the greenhouse that I planted at the start of the season. I also decided to plant a few extra seeds that I had lying around in my chests. I then did a bunch of random stuff around the farm today. It was just one of those days where I didn't really know what to do because all I could think about was catching that freaking fish. Really? Another sunny day? Okay, well, I'm not gonna hang out on my farm all day today. I need to do something different. So I picked some of my flowers, watered my mythical pet seed thingy, and headed into town to give away some gifts. I'm also going to bring some osmium kelp and essence with me because I believe I still have an upgrade or two left to complete at Ling's lab. Actually, never mind. I guess I upgraded everything. I fear I'm running out of things to do. You sound a bit nervous there, Paul. Hiding something? I'm watching you. While handing out flowers, I ran into what I'm assuming is the last cutscene for Archie. They had a funeral for Mr. Beaks, and I enjoyed watching the family have a sweet moment together. You can even see the tombstone outside of their house now, which is a nice touch since a lot of items tend to go away after cutscenes. You and me both, Joko. I foraged a little bit, then made my way back to the farm to do regular, boring farm stuff for the rest of the evening. This game seems to hate me, I guess. I only have 1 day left to obtain that fish, and I'm not feeling confident at all. Well, for today, I figured we'd try a few new things, since fishing is not an option. I wanted to buy some new clothing as I've been in this outfit for quite some time. So let's go ahead and go shopping at the White Flamingo and see if we can find anything cute or fun to wear. This one speaks to my soul. And I found the most amazing chicken tote bag. I just had to buy it the moment I saw it. Okay, so this is my outfit, guys. It's pretty cozy and hits multiple aspects of my personality. I feel like a new person and I look amazing. Next, I wanted to try cooking something new. I haven't cooked anything during this playthrough, and since no one is sending me recipes, I'm going to look some up online. Don't judge me. I want that cooking achievement, and I don't have the patience to wait for these ungrateful friends of mine to send recipes my way any longer. So I made some apple pie, a green smoothie, ice cream in a blender, which is weird, wasabi paste, ketchup, and quite a few other things. But I'll need quite a few other ingredients to make more of these meals. Once I was done cooking, I moved some trees around so I could continue placing down grass tiles, place those tiles down, then moved even more items around to continue decorating. I continued placing down tiles near my sheds, completing the pattern I initially started before heading to sleep. You've got to be kidding me. No, you've got... Guess I'm not completing the museum this year. Thanks, game. Does this game not offer rainy days towards the end of fall? My new shirt encompasses my current feelings. I guess I'll start this non-fishing day by harvesting all my fall plants since it's the last day of fall, and I'll say hello to my animals, the only ones on this island that never let me down. Speaking of animals, I just remembered I haven't purchased my extra llamas and luwaks yet. I'm feeling a bit sad, so let's go do that. I named my 2 new llamas, Rico and Pedro, if you know, you know, and my luwaks, Cappuccino and Mocha. And now I have 4 more babies to love, or 5 including Keanu, who's upstairs perpetually stuck in a crib. I then continued to decorate my farm for the rest of the day, trying to make the shed area cute and different. It's starting to come along, even though I'm still undecided when it comes to the design. And when I went to bed, I realized I got so caught up in decorating that I forgot to attend the spooky festival. Oops. Today is the first day of winter, and the first thing I want to do is get my garden planted and ready to produce, so I bought some seeds. There are only 3 things available to plant this season: tea leaves, snowdrop flowers, and cotton, but that won't stop me from making my garden look cute and pretty. Once I was done planting everything, I continued placing down some grass tiles in this area. I want to complete this already, okay? I kind of spent the whole day doing just that, and it was pretty enjoyable. I collected a bit of wine to sell before heading to sleep, earning $42,000 at the end of the day. Okay, so for today's activities, I think I want to try getting some of those conveyor belt auto chest contraptions working. I've seen a lot of people use them in their farm builds online, and it would be a smart idea to use them with my wine production equipment. I'm definitely going to need way more osmium bars and osmium kelp to craft a bunch of these chests. So I'm going to fire a few more osmium bars for now and craft what I can. I'm also going to set a few barrels up in my shed to test the chests, because I'm not entirely sure how they work or what the proper setup is for them, but luckily some instructions popped up and I was able to correctly set up some barrels and kegs. Why have I not used this sooner? This is awesome. I feel like this is going to be incredibly helpful because I won't have to worry about checking up on everything as often as I used to, and it'll continue creating artisan goods in the background once a barrel or keg has completely processed their previous items. I also added some melons to the auto chest so it can start producing juice for wine as well, and yeah. Once again, this is pretty awesome. I then went through my regular chest a bit more, getting rid of a lot of the lower valued artifacts, and only keeping a few of the good ones for upgrade materials. I added some more juice I found in my chest to the production line, moved a few trees around, admired my strange little family, and went to sleep. The next morning, I watered my future mythical pet, and I think we are getting close to the finish line with this little guy. I also started up a few more osmium bars in the furnaces. I'm starting to run low on osmium ore, so I figured I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone and go mining for more ore today while also working on leveling up my combat skills. And to make things even quicker, I crafted a ton of ropes to bypass smashing rocks all day long, looking for the entrance to the next level of the mines. I had a surplus of rocks, and that's the only material you need to make ropes. Makes no sense, but in this case, I'm glad that it doesn't. I grabbed around 150 pieces of ore while in the fire cavern, which is pretty good. When I got back to my farm, I fired a few more bars and went to sleep. And I was happy to see I finally leveled up my combat to level 7. So for today's activities, I want to continue giving out flowers to my neighbors and forage a bit for all the new winter flowers and ingredients. I have about 6 or so residents left to reach max hearts with, so I think I'll be able to accomplish the goal at the end of the 200-day playthrough, and thankfully Antonio only has 1 heart left because he is rarely here. It's so hard to catch him at times. I also talked to Kenny and he actually asked me a question. Finally, it feels like it's been forever since one of these islanders asked me something. I tend to gravitate towards the sarcastic answers because I find that humor funny. So I chose the less income response, and I thought he'd be slightly annoyed since Kenny is the nature guy. But I really liked his answer, and that's why everyone likes Kenny. He's just a sweetheart. I also decided to change out the fish in my pond and added a hammerhead shark in there. Why not breed dangerous ocean creatures in a tiny pond on my farm? Sounds safe to me. I crafted 12 more auto chests and placed a few more in my current wine production line. I also accidentally discovered that I'm able to decorate my sheds. Why did I not know this sooner? This opens up so many possibilities for me. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go crazy, you guys. First things first, I want to go grab some interior decorations to spice up my sheds. So I waited for the furniture shop to open and purchased a few things. I truly wish there were more options, but I will make do with what is available. I changed the flooring, wallpaper, and placed a few items in the wine shed, and it looks pretty good. I'll fix it up once every machine is placed in its permanent spots, but let's change direction. In order to prepare for more auto chests, I also need to stock up on osmium kelp, and it would be a nice opportunity to forage for ingredients underwater. It'll be a nice change of pace, and it gives me an opportunity to show off my cute mermaid tail a bit more. It's cute, right? I grabbed 50 osmium kelps as well as some golden kelps, which I'm completely out of, filled up my entire inventory with forageables, and once it got late, I ended the day. The next morning, I noticed my mythical pet was ready to be harvested. Again, so weird to say that, but I pulled that little guy out of the dirt, and just look at that cute little face. So precious, and they resemble a Neopet. You guys remember Neopets? I'm going to name her Daisy, and nothing bad will ever happen to her. Nothing at all. I'm sure Pongo, Daisy, and Keanu will be the best of friends. Okay, so where did Daisy go? And what does she do? I'm not sure if Daisy is meant to do anything or just serve as another pet, but she's absolutely adorable, and that makes me happy enough. I spent a good chunk of time afterwards adding more chests to my wine production area and getting rid of some of the furniture I placed the other day because I'd rather dedicate more space for equipment rather than a pretty couch I can't sit on. I also discovered I was able to move some of my machines in decoration mode while they were in use, which is really helpful. It allowed me to add barrels near the third production line that connected the chests with the beehive so I can produce mead on autopilot as well. I then made a few more osmium bars and headed to bed. I spent the next day doing a lot of random things on my farm, collecting animal products, organizing my chests, and of course, adding more green tiles to my farm. I made sure to pick up the buildings to place some green tiles underneath them because it would bug me if I didn't. Maybe you guys wouldn't be able to tell, but I would. I placed the tiles around the borders of the buildings and left the middle sections blank, and I'm fine with that. I spent the rest of the evening moving things back and forth, and I ended up placing a lot of trees into their permanent spots on the farm, at least I think. I'm indecisive, so you never know, but it's so close to how I want it to look, and I think we'll end up finishing it off tomorrow. I started off the day by saying hello to Pongo and to my husband, and stared at my baby, longing to hold him. And I really need to spruce up my house. I'll do that later on after I finish designing my farm, which I'm just about done with. I spent all day adding the final touches, but I'm finally happy with how it looks, and I'm going to call it complete for the time being. We'll take a little lap around the farm tomorrow and move on to new activities. Oh, and I guess I had my second child, this time a baby girl. I wanted her name to be similar to Keanu. And I found the name Keani online. It sounds really pretty, and I found out it means breeze in Hawaiian, according to Google. How perfect is that? Well, I'm glad to see that Mark seems to be happy with double baby duty. Keanu and Keani. I like the sound of that. And so does Pongo, it seems. All right, let's do a quick little tour of the farm. I ended up not dedicating more space for farming because at this point in the game, I feel like the greenhouse and the designated area on my farm is more than enough. I think these little walkways leading up to the sheds are really adorable as well, framed by my two favorite animals, birds and dogs. I added some flowers and chicken statues at the entryway to the farm, kindly greeting all who visit Keanu Reefs. I also added some border fencing and some flowers along this walkway, and I really adore the middle section of the farm that almost acts like a small park. The trees give it some nice depth and color. And of course, the sections of the farm for the animals are green and inviting, and I added a few trees in their corrals as well. I just really like how it turned out. One thing I just remembered I haven't done is visiting the black market dealer at night. I think she has a stamina fruit I've yet to buy, but I can't completely recall if I've already purchased it or not. We'll visit her later on tonight. For now, let's hand out more flowers and forage a bit more. Oh, new dialogue. Oh, maybe because my kid is fresh, people will comment on it? So I went around talking to everyone I could find, and they actually commented on my new baby. It's so crazy hearing new dialogue from everyone since that hasn't been a thing for a long time, but it made me happy. I'm surprised Leia was really nice to me, honestly. Pablo had to make it weird, and Archie wasn't happy about my new baby at all, but my sweet little niece was. Zoe is so cute. I foraged until it was time to go to the docks to meet the black market dealer, and I guess I did buy the stamina fruit. I don't remember doing that, but okay. I didn't need anything else from her shop, so I simply went home and ended the day leveling up my relationship with Ling and Eleanor. We have more auto chests we need to make, so that means we need to go back and mine some more osmium ore. Before we do that, I'm going to fill up my chests with pineapples to keep my production line on autopilot. So I spent the whole day here destroying quite a few monsters and found 137 pieces of osmium ore during my day of mining, which isn't bad. I spent the whole of the next day mining as well and ended up with a grand total of 282 pieces of osmium ore at the end of the night. We're going to start the day off by handing out flowers once again because Antonio has finally decided to grace us with his presence today. I only have a few residents left, so it didn't take too long to complete my rounds. Once I got back to my farm, I collected all of the wine and mead from my auto chests, placed them in the shipping bin, cleared more space in another one of my sheds, and crafted a few more auto chests so we can set up a few artisan goods for auto production. I set up the cheese machines next to the mayo machines and the mason jars next to the oil press machines. I'm not sure if it's the most logical combination, but it works for now. So I went and gathered some animal products to test it out, and it seems as if it's working well enough. I then spent a bit more time organizing the chests on my farm that, for some reason, I can't seem to keep organized, and ended the night earning 102,000 coral coins. It seems like every plant is fully in bloom on my farm, and it looks like a magical winter wonderland. It's so pretty. To start the day off, I gathered all of my animal products from my farm, said hello to Daisy, who's such a cute whatever she is, and made some more osmium bars. I then made my way to the furniture shop to browse styles because I want to redecorate my home and finish my sheds off as well. I have no clue what theme I want to go with, so I'm just buying a ton of different items and we'll go from there. I finished decorating both of the sheds for now, and I plan to just keep them simple for the time being so they aren't overcrowded. I then made my way home to start decorating the interior. The fact that many of these items cannot be centered with each other or centered on the wall drives me insane. I honestly didn't know what I was doing, and there was nothing I did that I was completely satisfied with. I moved the bedroom upstairs next to the children as that made more sense, even if the room itself acts as a hallway. Whatever, it's not important. And I'm not kidding when I say I went back and forth for over an hour because I could not make my mind up at all. So I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. Okay, round 2 for interior decorating, and I decided to buy more decor because I don't know what I want to do. I'm spending my money like it's going out of style, and it hurts my soul. It's a curse being indecisive, I tell ya. I did, however, finally decide on decorating the kitchen area in a subtle, beachy feel. The tables annoy me, as do the chairs. Why are there barely any dining tables, and why can't the chairs properly align to them? Please fix this in the future devs. I know there are a bunch of people out there like me who freak out over these kind of things. So I redid the whole kitchen themed to this subtle beachy look with lots of plants scattered about, and I think I really like it. It's not super bright, but at the same time includes nice pops of blues and greens throughout. It looks really cute. The room to the left of the kitchen I made into a living room area, and after constantly going back and forth between designs and buying more items, I think I'm finally satisfied with how it looks. It's fancy, yet comfy. And we are finally done decorating. For now at least. It was pretty fun, and I hope in the future we'll be able to have full control over the kids' rooms in our spouse's room. At the very minimum, changing the colors of the walls, floors, and decor. Let's spend the rest of the day doing something useful and refill our auto chests and set our last storage shed up for success. I want to set up auto production for materials like scrap, glass, fertilizer, and so on. So that's what we're going to do, and I began by crafting 12 auto chests, connecting the furnaces with the extractors, the compost bins with the recycling bins, and the kilns on their own for the time being. The reason I did that is I didn't want every piece of scrap being produced to turn into glass, so maybe I'll craft a few more recycling machines and attach them together with the kilns so we have a dedicated glass production line. After I was done getting that all set up, I went to sleep, earning almost $105,000 from all my artisan goods. There are a few more things I want to do in this game, and one of those things is reworking the greenhouse. I ran across a really interesting layout online that maximizes the greenhouse by incorporating every fruit tree in the game, so I want to give it a shot. First, I need to harvest everything from my greenhouse and remove all the evergreen plants. I then tilled all the soil and purchased one of every sapling tree and 2 of every seedling tree. I've been meaning to do this for a while because the seedling trees die each season and the saplings just go dormant, but in the greenhouse they'll flourish all year long, so it's really helpful to have them in there. So first I planted the seedlings, and they only need a 2x2 area between each other, so it was simple to plant them. For the sapling trees, I marked a little path where each needed to be planted and placed them in their proper spots, watered the seedling trees, and because I wanted the soil to look cohesive, I watered around the other trees even though they didn't need it. And now it's more pleasing to the eyes. From here, we just have to wait for the trees to mature before we can plant crops near them. Until then, why don't we try cooking a few more items? That would be fun, cooking in my new beachy kitchen. And once again, I'm looking these recipes up online. Don't judge me. I know you guys do the exact same thing. I cooked like 12 dishes, so that's good for now. When will I eat all this food? Oh, I won't. I'm selling it. I also crafted a few taps to place on my trees because I always forget to do so, and now I'm out of wood, so we'll go chop some tomorrow. I also completely forgot that I unlocked the area with all the dark wood in year 2, so we'll explore that area tomorrow as well. I woke up to a letter from the mayor reminding everyone about the winter fair. I forgot to attend the spooky event, so I'll be sure to attend this one and beat everyone at all the mini games. For now, let's quickly water the trees in our greenhouse and make our way to the forest to go chop down some trees. Chopping down all of these pine trees made me realize I never planted pine trees on my farm. I'll be sure to do that when I get back. So yes, this area I believe is called the dig site. I unlocked it in year 2 and it's abundant with dark wood, which is so helpful. Also, there is a giant orangutan named King Tan, but you can't interact with him quite yet. Sometimes you hear him making creepy noises in the distance, but yeah, he's pretty cool looking. This area is an old, overgrown, destroyed temple, I believe, but it's a really pretty section of the island, and I love the river flowing through it. I gathered a good amount of dark wood in this area and found some more regular wood near the mines. I then placed 6 pine cones down in the areas where I think the trees would grow without issue, and moved a few of my other trees, which still seemed a bit undergrown, onto temporary spots around the farm. I then checked up on my equipment machines, and they have been so efficient. I'm so glad I set them up to work with the auto chests. I added a variety of ores and kelps to the machines so they can continue creating resources in the background, and headed to sleep. First things first, let's water the trees in the greenhouse and let the animals out to roam. Next, I crafted a few more auto chests as well as 4 more recycling machines. I was going to attach them with the kilns, but they didn't fit in this space, which is a mega bummer. So instead, I just crafted 1 more of each item and made it a 5 chest production line, which I think is sufficient for this area. I'll figure out what to do with the extra space in this room at another time. I added 2 more auto chests, barrels, and beehives to the wine and mead room, making each production line the same length. I realized I wouldn't be able to use 3 production lines in my other sheds as well, which leaves me with the mushroom logs, the dehydrators, and the looms. I don't use the dehydrators really at all, so I'll just place 2 down in this shed, and they look kind of cute, like little terrariums almost. I think I'll place the mushroom logs outside as I also don't use them as often. And for the looms, I'll rework this space and place them in the middle of the room to create some balance. I crafted 2 more looms and 1 more oil press machine, and I'm almost done creating auto chests. I just need a few more, guys. And I almost missed the first night of the Christmas festival. I made it just in time to give trivia night a shot with my favorite mysterious farmer, Jeff Smith. I won first place in garden trivia, forage trivia after the 3rd try, and the artisan trivia because of course I would. I'm just that good. And I'll have to come back tomorrow for the rest of the festivities because it's late. I had some almonds that were ready to be harvested and a lot of materials ready to collect from the taps I placed on my farm, so I went ahead and did that. I let my animals out and realized they are running out of hay again, but I'm just gonna buy it this time. I have the money to do so. I also plan to mine for a little bit to gather more osmium ore to finish crafting the last few auto chests I need in my sheds. I also added the last of my cacti flowers to the auto chest so I can start making some cactus mead, which I believe is the most valuable item you can sell. All right, off to the caverns to collect some ore, and I was only there for a little while, but collected a decent amount, which made me happy. Once it reached 8 p.m., I left the mines and made my way back to the Christmas festival. I brought some flowers with me to gift to the last few residents I still need to max hearts with, but noticed Jim was heading away from the festival. I chased him, gave him a flower, and then ended up in a cutscene with Noah. In a previous cutscene, Noah freaked out when Betty fell and sprained her ankle, and you helped him bring her to the clinic. Noah was worried about how his mom's health has been getting worse since she's older, and he feels responsible for taking care of her. I appreciate Noah's heart though. He's always been a favorite of mine as well. Okay, back to the winter fair. I decided to play curling next, and I feel like it's a relatively simple game, and of course I won first place on my first try, beating the children. Next, the magnet game. I'm kind of good at this game. Sometimes it takes a few tries, but I got it down the second time around. Third game, the shooting game, and this one took a few tries to beat because I kept tying with Archie. But the second time I tied with him, the game awarded me first, so I'm satisfied with the results. The matching game, I must admit, I'm sadly not the best at, but I won, so in the end, that's all that matters. Well, that does it for the winter mini games. Super cute and fun, but I wish there was more interactivity with the town. Maybe I'll go back and talk to them in a day or two and see if any of the islanders have any cute seasonal dialogue. Oh look, it's literally me. I think I finally got Antonio's schedule down. He's here Fridays and Saturdays, so I need to catch him so I can give him a freaking flower. Thank God. The last residents that I need to reach 10 hearts with are Jim, Walter, Wataru, and Eleanor. And once I was done handing out my homegrown flowers, I watered the trees in my greenhouse, let my animals out, and was absolutely horrified when I saw Bobby was just standing on my property without asking me prior if it was okay to do so. He's obviously trying to steal my secrets. If Daisy were to have any type of job on this farm, security would definitely be helpful. I fired up a few more osmium bars, continued my never-ending quest to organize my chests, and went to sleep. Bright and early, I watered my trees and went into town to hand out more flowers. From there, I decided to forage a bit and plan to try and trigger Emma's dinner party event because I need to see this woman make me tacos before I end this video. I won't be able to rest until she serves me some tacos. While foraging, I spotted Dinda, and she basically told me I looked poor. Maybe she said that because I was wearing bunny slippers? I can handle the cold, Dinda. Thank you. Also, I did manage to get Emma's dinner party event to trigger, and while I'm happy to see that she's finally making me tacos, I cannot believe she had the audacity to make me vegan tacos after I brought a whole bucket of fish. I was promised fish tacos, Emma, and only fish tacos. Get to work. Still so disappointing. I made my way back to the winter fair to talk with some of the islanders, but unfortunately they didn't seem to have any new dialogue yet. At least from what I could tell. I foraged a bit more, organized my chest once again, and ended the day. After watering my trees, I made my way into town to spend the rest of the merit points that I've accumulated on more scarecrows, leaving only one left to obtain until I've purchased everything I can at Town Hall. I also said hi to Alice as I was leaving because Alice is one of my besties, and I figured it would be nice to go forage underwater today. I'm getting sick of being on land. Plus, I need to gather more golden and bronze kelps, so let's go do that. I spent a good amount of time gathering kelps, scavengeables, and a few ocean critters, and made my way back to shore. I also know there is an achievement for selling every item in the game, so I wanted to try and collect one of each to keep track of what I've sold and what I still need to find, because I honestly don't know what I could be missing at this point. Once I placed everything in their proper chests, I collected any artisan goods that were available to sell and went to sleep. The next morning, I had some sap and resin ready to collect from the trees on my farm, so I did that. I then watered my greenhouse trees and made my way into town to process the few fossils, geodes, and chests I had on me. I also continued to hand out flowers, and of course, the last few islanders left are the older folks. They take longer to convince, I suppose. I did, however, finally reach full hearts with Jim. I also reached full hearts with Walter, so Eleanor and Wataru are my last victims. Once I was back on my farm, I was in the mood to cook a few new recipes, so that's what I did. I made some pancakes, some beet chips, some falafel, and a few other things. I have less than 30 recipes left, so I've almost created every dish with the help of the Coral Island wiki. For the rest of the evening, I went diving again and gathered more kelps and resources from the ocean floor. I crafted one more auto chest to complete the artisan shed. I may want more in the future, but for now, I'm satisfied. I'm now completely out of osmium ore, so for the sake of having some in stock, I decided to make today a mining day and to work on my combat skills, the slowest leveling skill in the game. But you know what else I haven't done for quite some time? Paid a visit to the Band of Smiles. Still not on board for the name, but I know they sell weapons, and so I figured I'd go buy a new sword. I'll take that. Oh my gosh. Well, yes, I will take one of each. I think these weapons match my personality quite well. And I already had an opal ring, so hopefully 2 rings will double my chances of finding rare items. But I didn't realize just how much of a difference the ring that increases weapon speed really provided me, and I didn't like how slow my sword and pickaxe swings were, so I immediately got rid of the double opal rings. Rare drops are not worth my sanity decreasing from how slow my character was moving. I didn't grab nearly as much osmium ore as I would have liked, but I did slay quite a few monsters, so I'm satisfied with that. It seems my first batch of seedling fruits are ready to harvest in the greenhouse, which is exciting. Once I'm able to install a sprinkler, this whole greenhouse will be on autopilot year-round, and I won't need to worry about seasonal fruits any longer. I still need to wait for the other trees to mature first before placing other crops or sprinklers down. It looks a tad bit cluttered, but you know, it's fine. We're good. I collected some animal products and placed them in my auto chests, collected some artisan products and placed them in my shipping bin, and I think I've almost completed everything available for this game at its current stage. So from here, I think most of my time will be spent gathering items to stock up on for future updates and trying to earn achievements because I am a completionist, okay? I still need the $10 million earned achievement achievement, shipping everything in the game achievement, leveling up all skills, cooking every dish, and a few others. So I'll probably be working towards those goals as well as gathering materials. I'll try to make it interesting though. So for the rest of the day, let's mine again, and I decided to go in the wind caverns this time around. Nice change of scenery, and I like the music that plays in this cavern. Once it got late, I came home and went to sleep. I started the next day by making a few new dishes in the kitchen: chocolate chip muffins, cookies, mushroom jerky, and I realized I needed more sugar to bake even more treats, so I went ahead and started processing some cane sugar at my mill. I went on the hunt to capture a caterpillar because I need one for a new recipe, which I will not be eating, thank you very much. And I still had some new dishes I was able to create at this time, so I went ahead and did that as well, cooking stew, red curry, hot cocoa, some hard-boiled eggs, and a few other things. I accidentally messed up that caterpillar dish by using the wrong cooking equipment, so I had to go back outside and catch another one. But the remainder of the recipes I needed to cook either called for sugar or oil, so I added more sugar to the mill and some more truffles to the oil press to make some truffle oil. While foraging for the evening, I stumbled upon a cutscene with Waku and a few other islanders gathered around, waiting to see some shooting stars, and Wataru stopped by to check up on his son and complimented his work on predicting the meteor shower. He then tells a story about how they both watched shooting stars together on his dad's old fishing boat, and they bonded over their time together, and it was really sweet. The next morning, I decided to harvest all my crops since we only have a few more days left of winter. The farm always looks so barren when I remove everything, but it must be done. I added some tea leaves, snowdrop flowers, and cotton to the various machines on my farm to create some more artisan goods. I watered my trees in the greenhouse, collected my almonds for the last time this season, and now that I have more sugar and oil, I can make a few more dishes. Some of the new items I cooked in my super cool kitchen were potato chips, kale chips, and pumpkin pie. And now I have 2 recipes left, one which requires canola oil, which I can't obtain until next season, and another which needs wheat flour, and I'm all out. So I'll have to grind some wheat in my mill after the sugar is done processing. For the rest of the day, I foraged a bit more, gathering a few more ingredients before they are all gone for the season. I did make a pretty decent amount of money at the end of the day though. Upon waking the next day, I got a letter from my previous boss groveling at my feet to come back to work. And Mr. John Doe says he's going to visit me to convince me to go back. I'm rich. Why would I ever want to go back to a corporate job? Not in real life, and not in a pretend video game. That option doesn't exist in any world I live in. And the mayor sent a letter letting us know about the New Year's festival tomorrow. So for the last day of winter, I'm going to forage, but I'm going to forage in the ocean and pick up any last little items I could possibly need for whatever reason. And that's my anxiousness talking, taking over my life. And hopefully we'll be able to talk to the sea creature soon. I'm sure Mr. Yogi Shark has a lot of interesting things to say. The New Year's Eve festival is tonight, so we'll make sure to attend that. But in the meantime, I have a few random things I want to do on my farm. I started making some wheat flour so I can cook one of the last dishes I need for completion, grabbed the fruit off my fruit trees, reorganized a few of the fully grown trees on my farm, allowing more room for the smaller pine trees that still need to grow to maturity, and planted some more grass for my farm animals. Once it was late enough, I made my way over to the New Year's festival and made my rounds, chatting with everyone at the vineyard. Then I gave it my best shot at the spin the wheel game and got cookies. At least I didn't get coal, but I'd have preferred the 10,000 gold coins instead. And I think this might be a bug, but it kept letting me spin the wheel. I landed on 10,000 gold. The game must have heard my frustrations. And it let me spin it like 5 more times before it caught on. I also got a pink diamond, so I walked away with some great prizes. There was also another minigame called Don't Drop the Balloon, so I gave that a shot as well. And it wasn't too difficult, but I I was up against my bestie in the finals, so it was hard to not just let Alice win because she's a total sweetheart. Once I was done, I began the fireworks event, came home, and went to sleep. Today is the first day of spring, which means we have a lot of gardening to do. So let's start by buying some seeds, and I purchased 16 of each seed to start with, as well as a few extra potatoes since I'm completely out. I also just purchased some fertilizer because I'm too lazy to craft some right now, but I have the funds for it, so it's fine. And it basically took all day to plant everything, but it's not like I had anything else better to do. Plus, it's kind of therapeutic in a way. To start the day off, I need to find some canola flowers so I can make some canola oil, and I want to hand out flowers to Eleanor and Wataru. I'm sure we can convince them before my 200 days are up that I'm worthy of a 10-heart relationship. After I was done kissing up to my fellow islanders, I went back home to start processing the canola oil and foraged a bit more. While foraging, I stopped by the Concerned Monkey shop and kind of bought everything. Why not? I have so much money and I don't know what to do with it all. Wish I could say the same thing in regards to my personal life. But I think I may have gotten a tad overzealous, and now I'm poor again. Well, I'll earn it back eventually. And I continued to forage until it was time to turn in for the evening. I started the day checking up on my animals. I feel really awful for not filling up their hay, but I'm missing an achievement that pertains to shipping every animal item, and I think I may have neglected to ship a smaller milk or egg. I've read you can get the animals to produce lower quality items again if they are unhappy. It hurts my soul, but for the completionist in me, it must be done. While my animals continue to harbor hatred towards me for an imaginary reward, I located Eleanor in the museum, gave her a flower, and she's still not satisfied. I also found Wataru, gave him a flower, and finally he's seen the light of how wonderful my friendship is. Eleanor is the last target, and she better be satisfied next week because that's my last chance. From there, I gathered all my chests and geodes and made my way to the blacksmith's. For old time's sake. I'll give this to Mark. Opened them all up, and I also stopped by the lab and I found quite a few valuable items, which was unexpected. I organized my chests even more, this time organizing the items by color. No, I don't have a problem, and went to bed. The day started off with me running around my farm, doing some basic chores. I then made my way to the greenhouse to water my trees and collect my next batch of fruits, and I was happy to see the sapling trees are in their next growth stage. Once that was done, I figured I'd forage a bit more and go visit the giants, as I haven't talked to them at all during this playthrough, and I brought them some gifts as well. They are just so cute, and every time I see them, it makes me want to watch a Studio Ghibli film. I foraged until nightfall, sold a few more items, organized a tad more, and ended the day increasing my relationships with Daisy and Gong. The next morning, I gave Mark the mushroom I found in Pablo's trash can, and he seemed to like it. I also got a letter from Scott, who randomly gifted me an opal. Where were you like 45 days ago, Scott? But still, I appreciate the gem. My orange and durian trees were ready to be harvested, and while I waited for my potatoes to be ready, I went on the hunt to find Fun Bucket so I could say hi to the little guy. Oh, and Taco as well. These two cuties haven't gotten enough love from me this playthrough, and it's an atrocity. I looked high and low, but couldn't find Fun Bucket. I did, however, find Taco splashing in the fountain. Adorable, cute, lovable. Taco is all of those things. It brings me an indescribable amount of joy and makes me wish I owned a Shiba Inu. For the remainder of the day, I worked on increasing my combat skills by slaying monsters in the mines. I had a good amount of flowers and crops ready to be harvested, so I went ahead and collected everything. And now that I have potatoes, I can go ahead and make the last two recipes I've been missing. I made some donuts and a pineapple upside down cake. And there we go. I feel accomplished, but for no reason at all. Thanks again, Coral Island Wiki. I bought a few more seeds to replace the crops and flowers I just harvested and planted them in the garden. From there, I collected a few artisan goods to sell, watered the trees in my greenhouse, and foraged in the ocean for the remainder of the evening, gathering a good amount of sea creatures and kelps. Me too, Mark. Me too. First thing I wanted to do today was check and see if any of my animals provided me with some smaller eggs or jugs of milk. It was also raining, so I let them outside, and I felt slightly bad about it. If they'd just give me what I need, this could all be over with and I'd go ahead and feed them. I made another visit to the giants because they are adorable and had the sudden urge to craft something. I haven't really experimented with different scarecrows on my farm, and I've had the basic scarecrows since the beginning, so let's change them out. I decided to go with the mermaid scarecrows as they're adorable and they fit the Mediterranean theme and my farm name pretty well. For the rest of the night, I went diving to catch some more sea creatures and collect some more scavengeables. I've narrowed down what items I must be missing for the achievement. It's either a regular size duck egg, a regular size quail egg, or a small piece of llama wool. I'm leaning more towards the quail eggs, so they aren't allowed out of their coops until I get what I need. Everyone else is free to roam and eat grass. Next, time to track down Eleanor and give her some flowers once again. And finally, she accepted my friendship fully and completely. I have successfully managed to max out all available hearts with every human islander, and now I won't have to talk to any of these people ever again. I'm so happy that's done. Oh my gosh, what a pain. Was it necessary? No. Did the completionist living inside my mind need to accomplish this meaningless goal? Yes. Yes, she did. The rest of the day was spent foraging on land and catching bugs. Nothing too exciting. In the never-ending effort to try and make the last few days interesting, even though I've just about run out of things to do, I found a strategy someone posted online that, if it works correctly, helps level up your combat skill relatively quickly. So let's test it out, shall we? This strategy calls for a bunch of spring traps and a lure scent. The spring traps require ore, which I'm not too thrilled about, but I have a ton of silver ore, so I'll sacrifice some for the time being. I crafted 350 spring traps. I don't know if that's overkill or not, but the original post I read said they brought 400 with them, so hopefully it's enough. Now that we have the traps, let's head to the fire mines, level 21, and we first need to clear all the rocks before setting down the traps. I'm going to feel so silly if this doesn't work. I did something wrong. I guess I needed a different lure called Monster Scent 2 instead of the one I crafted, which is only available to craft after reaching level 9 in combat, but you can also purchase it at the Band of Smiles hideout, so I made my way there, hoping my spring traps would still be available when I came back. Thankfully they were, so let's try this out again. Nothing's happening. Well, okay. I believe my mistake was killing the monsters that were already here. Maybe that signals the game to not send more monsters? Maybe I'm reading the directions incorrectly or misunderstanding how the lure works. I'm not sure, but I had to pick up every freaking spring trap I set down, which was a pain. I made my way to the next level in order to test a few of the traps with some monsters, and the lure doesn't seem to do anything at all. It's basically useless, but the springs were working as they should. I set down traps for a little while until I got bored, made my way home, and went to sleep. First things first, I checked my combat experience, and I am pleasantly surprised to see that strategy worked. I was at 1,298 XP on level 7 before I started the day yesterday, and now I'm at 2,519 XP, almost reaching level 8. So I will be using that strategy once again in the future, even if it feels silly and takes a lot of resources. So thank you, random internet stranger on the True Achievements forum. You have saved me a bunch of time and an immense amount of my sanity. Well, today is a festival day, so we'll be attending that. I went to check on my quails to see if any of them produced a small quail egg, and they did. I knew they had it in them, and now they can eat. I grabbed some bok choy to throw into the hot pot at the festival and made my way there. Let's start off with the minigames. Beating children at minigames is what I live for. The Balak Karong minigame gave me some struggles last time I played, but I think they tweaked it a bit so your energy doesn't run out as easily, which I appreciate. And I almost lost to a child once again, but I came in first, beating Archie. Victory is indeed sweet. I then started the main event. I wish the events slightly changed each year like the tree planting festival does, but what can you do? It's still cute to attend. This was the first time the mayor was amazed by the soup though, so I guess contributing high quality ingredients that make sense actually does make a difference. At least I wasn't embarrassed like last year. And I think I'll finally have enough merit points to buy the last scarecrow at Town Hall tomorrow. And I was right. It was the small quail egg I was missing because I got the achievement, even though it didn't pop up. I'm so happy that problem was solved. Now my poor babies will never have to starve again. So I bought some hay and filled the silo. I feel like a monster. But you know, they're troopers, and in the end, they provided me with what I needed. I added some animal products to the equipment in my sheds to make more artisan goods and made my way to Town Hall to buy the last scarecrow, officially buying everything available through merit points. And since it was raining, I figured I'd catch some bugs, check my bug traps, and forage a bit more. I collected more items to sell from my sheds and ended the day. The next morning, I went to the greenhouse to water my trees, as I forgot to do that the other day, and I believe my sapling trees are now fully grown. I want to make sure they fruit first before placing other crops around them, but I'm glad to see everything is moving along as it should. I let my animals out to roam, collected any materials from them, and did a full harvest of everything on my farm. I went ahead and purchased more seeds to plant in order to try and get 1 to 2 more harvests out of the season. From there, I spent more time catching bugs and ocean critters, trying to add a bit of variety to my activity logs. We're at the end of the road, guys, where I've officially run out of content. We only have a few days left though, so we'll power through. So today, we're going to try and increase our combat levels again using that insanely silly yet effective method in the mines. And I'll need to craft more spring traps, which means I need more wood, so we'll chop some down, craft a few more traps, and we're good to go. I ran around placing spring traps everywhere until I ran out, went and chopped some more wood, came back and repeated the process until I was once again out of spring traps. Don't you love how random people on the internet can find interesting and strange ways to make slow game mechanics silly, easy, and much more enjoyable? After I ran out of spring traps for the second time, I made my way back to the farm, did some random farm stuff, and went to sleep. And I was so happy to see my combat leveled up to 8, and I can finally craft the slime of transmutation, which is such a handy item to have. At least something new happened. I woke up to a letter from Raphael, and he gave me some goat cheese. The letter sounded a bit sarcastic, at least in my mind. Thanks, Raphael. I had a few crops ready to be harvested, so I went ahead and did that, said hello to the animals, and checked up on my wine and mead empire. It takes far too long to age everything, but having everything on autopilot gives me a newfound sense of peace. I watered the trees in my greenhouse and found my sapling trees now have 3 flowers on them, meaning they are about to fruit, which is awesome. I also had a skill point I could use for my combat mastery, and I was impressed by how close I was to level 9. I highly recommend the spring trap method for any of you who are struggling with the slow burn of leveling up this skill. And for the sake of doing something different today, I went fishing. I changed spots every few hours, and it was sort of relaxing. Okay guys, day 199. I'm really stretching it here. Why did Raphael send me the same letter with the same slice of cheese? All of the trees in my greenhouse finally have fruit on them, so I can finally plant crops around their base. Finally, something to do. I collected all of the fruit and realized I didn't plant all the seedling trees. I feel silly for not realizing that, but also kind of don't care. I'll end up replanting them with higher quality soil and fertilizer in the future, so it's fine for now. As for the rest of the crops, I had a bunch of leftover cotton seeds, so I decided to plant them first. I tilled the soil and had to create 3 more level 3 sprinklers for this layout, so I went ahead and did that, placed them in their proper spots, and went to town planting cotton in the greenhouse. And I think it would be beneficial to attach some upgraded auto auto SFH attachments to the sprinklers in the greenhouse, given the chaotic setup. It would just be easier to auto plant and auto collect everything in this space. So I crafted a few, attached them to the sprinklers, watered everything, and there we go. The greenhouse is more efficient than it's ever been, but knowing me, I'll end up changing things around. The greenhouse kind of took all day, so I spent the rest of the evening hanging out with my farm animals because they're adorable. I then went to sleep and the game decided to send me a surprise. Ooh, barely missed. If I ended this playthrough losing one of my precious trees, I'd be pretty livid. Today is the last day of our 200-day journey, and I feel like we've just about accomplished everything there is in the game so far. So today is going to be pretty chill. I first had to try and find Fun Bucket because I still have yet to see him, and lo and behold, I was blessed on this final day by seeing his cute little self at the ranch. Truly a wonderful way to end this playthrough. The desire I have to pet this duck is something I cannot properly describe. He's too freaking cute. I also crafted a slime of transmutation, but I'm confused because this is different from the one I already have. I didn't know there were two different objects to craft that look the same. I thought it was the same thing, and it took me a minute to figure out how it worked, but basically you can take a lower quality ore and transmute it to the next level up. So gold turns to osmium, bronze turns to gold, which I guess could be useful. I decided to end this journey by going around talking to some of my favorite islanders, and hopefully in the future there will be a lot more interesting things that they can say, more dialogue, more things to do. I've read the dev blogs and there is definitely a lot planned for this game. More interactivity with the merfolks, farming in the ocean, the savannah area unlocked, dating mechanics, children aging up, more animals to add to your farms, and so on. So there may be enough content to do another playthrough in the future, or I may just leave it here. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next video.